How do we disagree with someone while making them feel like we really understand them, we know where they're coming from, and we get them to understand our point of view as well? Today, we're going to be analyzing a video by Tony Robbins, this specific circumstance. He invited someone to come in, Dr. Esther Perel, to share about relationships, and he is disagreeing with her on one of the things that she shared. Let's see how Tony Robbins decides to step in and disagree.
Huge piece. So thank you for that.
I'd like to challenge this notion. I'm disturbed by this notion, and we're dear friends. What I see over here is I see empowerment at the point of being victim. And we don't have enough information to know what's going on there. It sounds like he was abusive and I would rip the guy's face off for hurting you. I think you know where I come from. But this idea that if you forgive, you're disempowered or it'll happen again is a presupposition that I would challenge. I think this is bullshit.
Alright, first of all, we gotta see what does he do in the first place. So notice his language. What language does Tony use in this specific circumstance? Because the language we use, depending on the situation, is really important. In a situation when you feel someone is wrong, instead of saying, "You're wrong," maybe you say, "I believe you're mistaken." It's a whole different ball game rather than "you're wrong" versus "I think you're mistaken." In this circumstance, Tony uses the word, "I would like to challenge that." And it's a much kinder way than saying "you're wrong" or I disagree. I would like to challenge this notion. Let's hear it again.
Peace. So thank you for that.
I'd like to challenge this notion. I'm disturbed by this notion, and we're dear friends.
And we are dear friends. He's establishing rapport with that person on the screen by making this person feel like, I don't think you're a bad person. I respect you. I appreciate you. We are dear friends. Establishing rapport. Here, you will see that he builds more rapport with the people around him as well.
What I see over here is I see empowerment at the point of being victim. And we don't have enough information to know what's going on there. It sounds like he was abusive and I would rip the guy's face off for hurting you. I think you know where I come from.
I would rip this guy's face out for hurting you. This is Tony's way of really showing that he really emphasizes that. And if you see his physiology, he truly means that. He's not just saying it, he really means that for the person. By connecting to what she really feels, the hurt that she feels, I will rip his face out. Those kind of language, it's a bit shocking, as well as to tell the person, I feel you, I feel your pain.
But this idea that if you forgive, you're disempowered or it'll happen again is a presupposition that I would challenge.
Again, he uses the word challenge here instead of, I think it's wrong.
I think this is bullshit.
So the word bullshit here, after I think this is just Tony just coming in with his natural personality. He likes to use this forceful and taboo language to kind of interrupt some patterns. So as you can see here, he is a bit more relaxed. He has established a frame. He has framed the conversation in the right way, and then he can start to really pull his real self into what he really feels. Imagine if he said, I would like to interrupt here, this is bullshit. Nah. You gotta frame your words carefully, choose your words carefully at the start, build rapport with the people, show that you care, then finally get into what you truly believe in. It makes people respect you so much more when they talk to you.
You're now other people are starting to develop this belief structure as a form of empowerment, and you don't have to not let go. You can forgive for yourself. You can forgive so you can be free. You don't forgive to be a cool person or a good person, and I understand what she's trying to do to make sure you don't do that. But
I understand what she's trying to do. Appreciating the person for what she says. That isn't saying that she's wrong. Understanding where she's coming from. Her positive intent.
I'm already seeing it spread, and I think that's bullshit. I'm here to tell you right now.
If you see Esther's body language, what do you see? Does she feel hurt, or is she more inquisitive? Interesting. What I see so far is that she's more curious rather than he's trying to hurt me, but a bit more curious. Oh, what's going on here?
I think that's bullshit. I'm here to tell you right now, you don't have to be a victim to be empowered, and you don't have to live in rage to be empowered. There's a time for those things. There's a time to use your anger so you can separate from it. But I'd be much more interested in knowing what actually happened, what the triggers were, so we can empower you to recognize someone who would be abusive so it never happened again, as opposed to just being angry and separating them. I understand the intent, which is not to link love in any way to something that's abusive, and I agree with that 1,000,000%, Esther. But watching this here again, and I'm watching the physiology that's going on, and I'm telling you this is bullshit. This is an excuse. This is an excuse to stay angry or an excuse to be a victim. And you're certainly not that.
There are two things going on here. So firstly, Tony is giving proof of why does he see what he sees. So he gives the example, I'm observing the physiology right here. So that's where that's where he's getting his information from. Not like, oh, I think this is happening. He gives concrete proof that what he sees instead of what he just feels, but what he sees in a person's body. And secondly, he is helping to change this person by seeing this person's identity and labeling them as that they are not this kind of person, which is a really empowering thing. Many a times we like to target people, oh, you are just an awful person. But in these kind of times, we want to lift them up by saying, I see that you are not this kind of person, so don't be. Yeah.
But this is a slippery slope that's begun. Everything else here has been magnificent. Esther knows how much I love and respect her.
Again, building rapport. You always gotta keep the rapport, connect, and understand and appreciate them all of the world to make them feel heard, seen, understood, and never make them feel attacked at any moment. Always make them feel appreciated.
But I can't sit sideways and watch this continue.
I'm so, I mean, this is the most incredible. I was about to say, before I end, I have to clarify something.
Good, let's do that.
Because I have a feeling that something is
Now.
taken. So it's perfect. It's
Good,
perfect.
let's do it.
Because what I was really saying is to one person, just to one person in that particular situation, where I felt like you're going too quick into saying I forgive, and I just thought, nah. But that doesn't mean that you stay angry. That doesn't mean that you. All I wanted you to think is, if you try to just make yourself be good, you're going to stay in touch with the fear. Once I heard Dimple now tell me, you gave me permission not to forgive.
Yes.
Then I started to think, no. I talked to one person. I'm not making this a principle.
I agree with
you. And I can't agree with you more.
So as you can see, Dr. Esther Perel is still in a really positive state. She doesn't feel hurt in any way, and she's able to express herself through a Zoom screen without any hate, without anything, because Tony kept building rapport and showing that he understood and appreciated her, even though he was disagreeing with her in front of such a large crowd.
I agree with you 100% in terms of too soon and rushing to it, Esther. You know how much I love you.
Again, building rapport. Esther, you know how much I love you. And also, the fact that he says, I agree with you 100%. That is really good. And he does it, he frames it, I agree with you 100% in terms of this. When someone says they agree with you 100% on something, it makes you feel very seen and very heard, and like, this person is hearing me. And he also specifies it in terms of what. And by framing that, it shows that you hear the person, you see and hear the person, and also exactly where specifically you agree and where you can continue to build on, and the part that you would like to challenge.
Problem is, I'm watching the physiology, and you don't have maybe the same screen to see, to be fair to you. I'm seeing what's happened. I saw a person sit down feeling empowered for a moment, but then I can also see she doesn't have the skills then to take that and translate that into a better relationship. And to me, that's terrible. And I'm watching, and what happens, unfortunately, Esther, is when you communicate, people then take that and they use it as a tool then oftentimes to meet their lowest value structures, to meet their own fears, to meet their own justifications. And unfortunately, through camera, I'm sure if you were here, you would see what I saw. and you would have nipped in the blood. So I want you to know I support your intent 1,000,000%. Just going to forgive so you're being a good person is bullshit. But freeing yourself from rage and anger is critical for all of our spiritual development.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Alright, so that is how to disagree with someone while keeping the rapport and making sure the person still feels heard and your point also gets through very effectively. So 3 things I would take away from this video. Maintain rapport. Always build rapport and maintain the connection with the people you're talking with by showing you really understand their point of view, you appreciate them, you see the positive intent in what they're saying. Secondly, don't be afraid to be genuine after you've framed everything. Tony went straight into his mode of that's bullshit. And he really let his authentic self shine through after really building a rapport and showing what he saw. And thirdly, give as solid concrete proof as possible. I saw this happen. I noticed that happening, rather than I just felt this, felt that, because emotions are slightly hard to argue on, but if you share concrete objective facts of what you observed, that will be so much easier for other person to understand you as well. So next time, try these 2 things and see how it turns out.